Welcome everybody to San Diego in the 2015 National Funding Holiday Bowl, all part of Capital One Bowl Mania. From Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, on the eve of the New Year's Six games, we have a Rose Bowl-worthy matchup. Number 25 USC taking on Wisconsin for the first time since 1966. We're welcoming to the broadcast booth in San Diego, Adam Amin on hand. Very excited. It's a great time for college football fans. Tomorrow marks the start of the New Year's Six, and we have a great matchup to lead you right into it. It's been a very tumultuous season for the number 25 ranked USC Trojans. Of course, many folks know about the entire story that has gone on. After 5 games, Steve Sarkisian placed on leave of absence and then fired a day later. Clay Helton, the offensive coordinator, takes the reins, goes 5-2 as the interim head coach, is named the head coach 5 days before the Pac-12 title game, suffered a tough loss against a very good Stanford team that's now playing in the Rose Bowl. But through all of this tumult, through all of this storming, the one guy that has been right in the center of things, Kelly Stauffer, has been the quarterback, Cody Kessler.
And it's not just the quarterback, Cody Kessler, it was the captain, Cody Kessler, that really came to the rescue. His response was vital at really preventing this team from imploding. Remember what his year was supposed to look like? He was supposed to be the quarterback of a team that had a chance to be in the playoffs. That may launch a Heisman campaign. None of that happened. It was because of his response that this team is here today.
Olivia Harlan is on the sidelines. And Olivia, everything Kelly's talking about, this speaks volumes about Cody Kessler and what he means to this team.
Well, Adam, Cody Kessler is the most unselfish player that Clay Helton has ever coached. That's what he told us yesterday. Even the one glaring mark on his stat sheet this season, the 35 sacks, is justified by that very principle. He'd rather take the hit than risk the drive, marking this offense with the fewest turnovers in the Pac-12. And when USC got down to their 4th string center, Kessler was told he'd have to hand the ball off a lot more, and his pass attempts and touchdowns would go way down, and that's not good for a guy looking for a little Heisman buzz and good draft numbers. I talked to him before the game, though, and he told me he's a small-town team guy. He never bought into the SC quarterback or glam LA hype. If Coach asked him to throw 60 times a game or 3 times tonight, he'll do either, Adam.
That says a lot about what this guy really means to this ball club. He's got to face a very good team on the opposite side with a first-year head coach. Paul Chryst comes back to Madison, takes over the reins as the head coach after taking Pittsburgh to 3 bowl games. This was a team that had some tough starts in ball games this year, had a very difficult game to open their season against Alabama, but only 2 losses in Big Ten West play by a combined 10 points to 2 top 25 teams now in Iowa and Northwestern. Had a very dramatic win on the road and a comeback against Nebraska, and this team is marked by that right there, the 13.1 points per game allowed by Dave Aranda's defense. That has really been the mark of this team this year.
Before we talk about the defense, we talk about the offense is not today what it will be in the future under Paul Chryst. That power run game. So the defense is counted on, and if you're counting on the defense, you want to count on Joe Schobert. As a matter of fact, Joe is a disruptor. He's an All-American. We can see that. And his disruptive numbers are needed. They move him around. The whole linebacking level is moved around, and USC is going to have to find number 58 here this evening.
137-mile drive to the Coliseum in Los Angeles. It's a 2,000-mile trip from Madison to make it out to San Diego. First time since 1966, 2 storied programs meet. Matt Bormeister kicks away for the Trojans, and Natrell Jamerson takes it from the 5. And Jamerson stretches it all the way to the sideline, and Bormeister runs him out of bounds. Shy of the 30. Solid return by Jamerson. We have 2 of the top 5 winningest active quarterbacks in the country. Joel Stave with a win tonight would set the new Wisconsin record, currently tied with Brooks Bollinger for the most wins in UW history. And he's only 269 passing yards away from passing Darrell Bevell for the first mark in UW history.
And head coach Paul Chryst called him substantive and well respected because of all the turmoil he's been through in his career.
This drive starts from the 28-yard line, and it's Dare Ogunbowale, who's been the leading rusher this season, taking over for Melvin Gordon for a yard. Take a look at our impact players for this game when Wisconsin's on offense.
Well, Wisconsin has to get something out of the pass game, and so Will Wright is back after missing 4 games. The alpha receiver is Erickson, and then, of course, Dory Jackson and Sua Cravens are NFL guys who are going to be playing here tonight.
Zoa Craven's playing his final game as a member of the USC Trojans. Todd McShay and Mel Kiper both believe he is a first-round caliber pick. Second down, and here is Ogunbowale. Very shifty moves. The former soccer player who has very good feet is able to work his way for 4 yards. Tackled by Elijah Tucker.
Wisconsin, Adam, has not ran the ball well this year compared to last year especially, but they're still going to run it because their pass game is really set up by the play action pass game and the quick pass game. So they're going to continue to pound that rock up inside.
Full house backfield. They go to Clement. Patiently seeking a hole, and he gets taken down by Tucker and Wosu. A yard shy of the line to gain, and that'll bring up 4th down. And the punt unit's coming on.
With that penetration up front early by USC, didn't allow that play to develop. It was a diamond formation, kind of the full house backfield as you talked about, Adam. But that time the line of scrimmage was won by USC defensively.
Dangerous return man, Adoree Jackson. 2 kick return touchdowns, 2 punt return touchdowns in his career. Drew Meyer boots it away and is going to sail one over the head of Adoree Jackson. So out to the 20-yard line will come this USC offense. We mentioned that Joel Stave is one of the top 5 winningest active quarterbacks in the country. Cody Kessler is right in the mix for that as well. He's actually tied for 5th among active quarterbacks for the most wins with 27, and he's only one of 4 USC Trojans to pass for 10,000 or more yards. Only Brandon Doughty has a better touchdown to interception differential among active players. And this offense, which averaged 35 points a game, goes to work from the 20 with a play action pass. And Kessler taking a shot for Juju Smith-Schuster, and Michael Caputo, the outstanding safety, broke it up.
USC coming out quickly, and it's the play action pass to try to get Juju Smith-Schuster open early. And Caputo is on the coverage right there. Wisconsin doesn't want to be in that position very much. And you don't want to turn number 9, Juju Smith-Schuster, loose like that very often.
Screen pass to Darius Rogers with a block from Smith-Schuster, but not much there as Darius Hillary and Caputo are both there to close out the play after a short gain. Hillary is playing his 54th career game tonight. That ties the Wisconsin record. Caputo playing his 53rd.
And for USC offensively, the question isn't Juju Smith-Schuster. He's dynamic. We know that. The question is, who's the number 2 receiver, and why haven't any tight ends been developed in this system that USC is known to develop tight ends in?
Pressure on Kessler. Keeping the play alive with a flag thrown. Nearly hauled in by Stephen Mitchell Jr., but we'll have to check the penalty marker back near the 30, and it is a holding penalty. Let's see if Wisconsin declines it.
Holding. Number 62 of the offense. Penalties declined. 4th down.
John McDade, first year as an SEC official, longtime official though. And Khalil Rogers, who is battling that ankle issue, as Olivia talked about at the top, gets tagged for it. 4 not, and here is Alex Erickson back to return a punt from Chris Alvarado. And it bounces in a tight window there, and it will roll without touching a Badger. It's down at the 40-yard line somehow by USC. Just over 2 to play, first quarter. We're scoreless. Scoreless in the National Funding Holiday Bowl, all part of Capital One Bowl Mania. And Wisconsin's offense with its best starting field position at its own 40-yard line. Corey Clement on first down following the block of Watt, and he'll pick up 3 to the 43.
One of the things that Joel Stave is going to be asked to do at the line of scrimmage is a check with me package, and when they're in the pro set, like Wisconsin was right that particular time with a tailback and a fullback, essentially he's just going to check away from the support safety, and he did on that play.
They put a lot of faith and a lot of confidence in Joel Stave, a veteran quarterback at 30-10 in his 40 starts as a Wisconsin starting QB. Pass play on second down. And he whips one for a first down, and it's Alex Erickson with his biggest catch and run of the day inside the USC 38-yard line. Third catch for Erickson.
And just a curl route outside by Erickson, uncovered by Will Wright underneath, drags the coverage with him. Very well schemed that time by Wisconsin. It's the combination route. You uncover with the short route, and then Erickson just hooks up in that void in that zone.
Picked up 19 yards on that play. Again, closing in on 1,000 yards for his season. There's Ogunbowale. Grabbed by Simmons and brought down. About 4 yards on that run.
Ogunbowale is, remember, he was recruited as a defensive back, so he's really learning the position still. And one of the things that is the last to come to players that have been converted to the running back position is patience, and you can see it on that play. It's a zone scheme up front, and you just have to be patient at the point of attack. He's learning that as he goes along.
That could be the final play of the quarter. Wisconsin runs it here, which they will with Clement. Runs right into Antoine Woods, and the play closed out after a gain of about 2. As expected, very pro style, very run heavy. That's been the change for USC. They've gone more run heavy under Clay Helton. And of course, Wisconsin doing what Wisconsin wanted to do, try to establish the ground game. They possessed it for 10 of those 15 first quarter minutes. First meeting in 49 years between two of the most storied programs in college football. No score through 1. Defensive coordinator Dave Aranda has done a fantastic job with this team.
Yeah, Dave Aranda has them going, and Wisconsin defensively is about number 58, right?
Yeah.
Joe Schobert is actually the guy that creates all of that turmoil.
Absolutely.
And it's about the linebackers on that second level, the defensive line of scrimmage. They just hold the fort, but it's the linebackers that get those production numbers.
Joel Stave looking for Robert Wheelwright. Did he hold that in? What an incredible catch! One-handed by Wheelwright. His first game back since a broken fibula on October 24th.
Yeah, 4 games out and not very rusty. The one-handed catch goes up with that right mid and comes down with it. Isaiah Langley, the true freshman, on the coverage, but Wheelwright has to be a good number 2 receiver to offset the production of Alex Erickson. We've already seen him in that first quarter.
Into the red zone for the first time to the Badgers. Here is Corey Clement in just his 4th game this year. Clement trying to get to the edge, and he's brought down by Marvell Tell III, the freshman safety. Clement's story has been an interesting one this year. Only playing in his 4th game, had sports hernia surgery after the opener against Alabama. Ended up missing 8 games overall due to the sports hernia surgery, as well as an incident at his apartment. He threw a first punch in a dispute and was given a police citation. He did not play in the regular season finale. He's still trying to get back to 100% from the sports hernia surgery and his injured hand that he suffered during that dispute. Second down and 8 for Stave. To throw. It is batted at the line of scrimmage. Delvon Simmons getting that big paw up. The former Texas Tech Red Raider closes out the play, and it's 3rd down.
That little quick motion by Alex Erickson is just to see if they have zone coverage or man-to-man coverage, and then Simmons does get that left hand up and knocks that ball down. But this is the type of situation deep in the red zone that Wisconsin has to get the ball in the end zone.
empty set for Stave. His running back Ogunbowale is wide. Just a four-man USC rush. Looking for Erickson. Incomplete. The coverage from Adoree Jackson. Erickson, Wisconsin's leading receiver, could not haul it in, and the field goal unit will come out.
This ball is pretty well thrown. The fade outside to Alex Erickson, covered by Adoree Jackson. Kind of the hand-to-hand combat, and then Erickson is just late getting his hands up a little bit. That is extremely well thrown by Joel Stave.
So Rafael Gaglianone, the sophomore out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, who's had a rough sophomore year after a great freshman campaign, will try from 28. He'll angle it through. And Wisconsin has the first points of the National Funding Holiday Bowl from San Diego. This was Sunday. USC got a chance to visit the world-famous San Diego Zoo. And more credit to Cody Kessler and Sue Cravens and Anthony Cerro than I could probably receive, because they got friendly with a boa constrictor. USC's offense has gone through a very distinct change from Steve Sarkisian to Clay Helton. They've been more run-heavy, and Cody Kessler has made the sacrifice of his numbers for the betterment of the team.
Yeah, Helton is all about a physical run, setting up the play-action pass game, less vertical shots down the field, which I think Cody Kessler does so well, but a different approach offensively to some extent, mainly because of the injuries at that center position as well.
Jack Russell with a short kick to avoid Adoree Jackson. So it's going to be Justin Davis on the return. Takes it across the 30. Here is Smith-Schuster on the perimeter. Got a great block from Taylor McNamara to open him up for some yardage out of bounds after a 7-yard gain. And of course, Juju Smith-Schuster, as you would guess, is one of our impact players.
Yeah, this is a keen grasp of the obvious impact players right here. You see Smith-Schuster and Ronald Jones, we've seen a few times already, and Schobert and Caputo are the guys that have to get physical on the defensive side for Wisconsin.
Big blitz by Chris Orr. He timed it up perfectly. And he brought the pressure on Cody Kessler that time to bring up third down.
That's Wisconsin's calling card. They will occupy the offensive line of scrimmage with 3-down linemen, cause confusion because Wisconsin will move linebackers all over the map. And then that time Chris Orr comes completely free because 2 USC offensive linemen turn out on 1 defender for Wisconsin.
They're going to move Smith-Schuster to the wide side of the field. Run to the short side with Jones, and he gets grabbed by Alec James, the redshirt sophomore, bringing him down to bring up fourth down. The top scoring defense and one of the best defenses overall in the country is able to recover after that great Jones catch and run to start the drive.
And Wisconsin isn't going to overpower you defensively, but there is a ton of movement that you have to account for.
Chris Alvarado will punt to Alex Erickson. And a fair catch signal. Good coverage downfield. And Erickson raises his arm at the 11-yard line. Dave Aranda, who has been linked to the USC defensive coordinator job over the course of the last month or so. He's going to be a very highly sought-after candidate for a lot of defensive coordinator spots. Wisconsin, of course, hoping to retain him. His defense has been the best in the country in terms of scoring D, allowing just 13 points per game, and so far they have not allowed a very good offense to score. They get the ball back for Wisconsin's offense at the 26-yard line, and Joel Stave, who gives to Corey Clement, who has nowhere to go. 4-man rush for USC on second down. It is Watt making the catch and getting the first down to the 43-yard line, 38-yard line rather. The younger brother of J.J. Watt, the redshirt senior out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And an interesting formation. Watt is a true fullback at 6'2", 236
What's
pounds.
that, a fullback? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I said a fullback, and we actually see fullbacks by both teams in this game. That is highly unusual. They're not extinct yet, but they certainly are rare.
Dare Ogunbowale is the back. And working to the outside. Good shifty move to get past Jonathan Lockett, and Iman Marshall finally brings him down near midfield. A first down run of 12.
Agumbawale has gotten better at him at just this. He's a fast guy, but you have to press the line of scrimmage right there. And then if I can bounce it, that's when I bounce it. Early in the year, when we saw this team at Nebraska, he was bouncing it way too early. He's getting more patient. He's getting more productive.
They've had to replace Melvin Gordon, who had the second greatest rushing season in FBS history last year, not playing most of his games at this very stadium this year for the San Diego Chargers. Stave off play action. Down the middle, and it's caught by Troy Fumagalli. Just shy of the 30-yard line, brought down by John Plattenberg after an 18-yard pickup.
Fumagalli is the tight end on the right side, and play action pass. You can see that second level of defenders, the linebacking level, step up, give a free release to a tight end that ends up on Plattenberg, the safety.
Redshirt sophomore out of Naperville. His one touchdown came in that comeback win on the road at Nebraska this season. He and Austin Traylor have made a very good tandem at tight end, although Traylor has missed a bunch of time with injury. Off the play action fake. Stave with an open man down the sideline. A twisting catch by Traylor right on cue. The redshirt senior out of Columbus takes it inside the 10.
Austin Traylor coming back along with Fumagalli allows this, a two tight end set, and then you can see 46. Traylor sneaking across the formation and eventually running somewhat of a wheel route. Very well executed by Wisconsin offensively.
He missed 6 of the final 7 games after suffering a broken right arm against Iowa. He's back in tonight, and it's 1st and goal, Wisconsin. The give to Clements. And Corey Clement lunging for the end zone. He'll be stopped shy of the goal line by Amon Marshall. We've talked about the tumultuous year that Corey Clement has gone through, the junior out of Glassboro, New Jersey. He wants to make an impact tonight.
Clement does a nice job once again, pressing the line of scrimmage and then bouncing it, and that's really what I thought. He got that ball into the end zone. I think this is going to be looked at further, and nothing is down before the ball crosses that point. I think that's a touchdown right there, Adam.
I will say, I thought maybe the elbow.
It is a touchdown. The ball breaks the goal line plane prior to a knee or an elbow touching the ground.
Kelly nailed it from the start. Corey Clement, that's a big touchdown for him personally.
It really is, and if they can get some volume out of that guy tonight, this run game is different, and Paul Chryst sets up his pass game as we've already seen, the play action version off of a run game. That's what he wants this team to look like from now going forward.
Gaglianone adds the extra point, and Wisconsin has a 2-score lead early on USC. Just the 4th game of the season for Corey Clement. Has dealt with that sports hernia surgery. He had to go to Germany to have that surgery. He said he had to watch the Big Ten opener at a sports bar in Munich just to watch his Badgers play. Paul Chryst enjoying what he's seeing after Clement scores. This is the 38th National Funding Holiday Bowl. And Wisconsin off to a very solid start. All 10 points coming here early in the 2nd quarter to take a 2-score lead. The final bowl game before the New Year's 6 games takes center stage. 2 programs that have been around for nearly 130 years each are meeting for the first time in nearly a half-century. Both teams established their programs before 1890, and it's only the 7th time they're meeting. This is Justin Davis on the bouncing kick, and Davis seeking an alley, and he's finally brought down. Got past the kicker Jack Russell, and Ryan Connor closed it out after a solid 32-yard return. So on 1st and 5, here's a burst from Justin Davis. He has the first to the 42.
That's the first time USC has crossed midfield. This is their 4th possession. 3 first downs, 3 punts, and you can see it right there. Clay Helton wants to win the time of possession, and he's behind by about almost 10 minutes right there.
We'll go back to Davis, and he churns out 2 yards running into Chikwe Obasi. When Steve Sarkisian was the head coach of this team, they were much more pass happy on the offensive side. They averaged about 25 minutes of possession a game. Under Clay Helton in the first 7 games, right around 34 minutes a game, including 40 minutes against UCLA. Stanford did what Wisconsin is trying to do tonight, and that's dominate the time of possession. As they slide into the pistol with Ronald Jones. And good penetration by Natrell Jamerson. Ends up being a loss of 1. So that brings up 3rd down. Pressure coming from Wisconsin. Kessler into a tight window, looking for Darius Rogers. And Sojourn Shelton and Vince Beagle were both in the area to break it up. 4th down.
Great break on the ball by Sojourn Shelton right there. You see a guy in your zone, don't go cover grass, squeeze it down and go make a play. Rogers hooks up. Number 8 and Shelton breaks on the ball and squeezes it. Very good job of breaking on it right at the end.
Badgers load up the box. And Kessler on 4th and 4 is going to be in the shotgun here. Bringing Rogers into the backfield. He releases. Adoree Jackson breaks 2 tackles. There goes Adoree Jackson inside the 5. Explosive count.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's what I was going to say. There are so many explosive players that USC can put into the pattern. Adoree Jackson ends up with the football right there, but Juju Smith-Schuster was getting a lot of attention as well.
Kessler the fake. Kessler trying to stay away from Beagle and opts to make the very good decision. That's what Olivia talked to us about today. The unselfishness of Kessler to get rid of it when he knows he has nothing.
Yeah, that was a tremendous decision. And Clay Helton told us that Kessler is vastly underrated as an athlete. You know, he doesn't run outside the pocket much, but he manipulates the pocket and he gets his throws off. And then in the end right there, he makes a really, really good decision deep in the red zone.
They line up Davis wide. Kessler dumps it off for Tyler Petit. And the freshman out of Lafayette, California, gets closed out quickly by Olive Songapolu, the freshman out of Huntington Beach.
And Petit was running somewhat of a delayed screen by the tight end, and it didn't work that time. And remember, Adam, that Wisconsin defensively is all about movement and being where they're supposed to be. They very seldom are out of position.
Number 9, Juju Smith-Schuster, slot to the left. 4 targets, just 1 catch so far. Kessler with time. Kessler to the end zone. It is caught shy of the goal line by Juju Smith-Schuster in front of Caputo. It'll be 4th down and goal. They've already gone for it on 4th down once on this drive. What's the decision here for Clay Helton?
Yeah, they go for it right here. I don't think there's any question about it. You go for it on 4th and 4 out in the field. You go for it right here. This offense really hasn't gotten anything going. This is the first drive they crossed the 50. You need to get this in the end zone.
Kessler quickly to the line. They give it to Justin Davis. And Davis this time makes it count for a touchdown. Gutsy 4th down calls on that drive for Clay Helton's crew.
Yeah, I think Clay Helton knew he needed to get his offense going, and 2 4th down conversions. This touchdown is the second one. Full house backfield, but it was the rush to the line of scrimmage and the quick count that caught Wisconsin off guard defensively.
A drive that took 7 minutes off the clock. Despite the deflection, still put 7 points on the board after a low Alex Wood attempt. Matt Bormeister, whose father Peter was an all Pac-10 kicker at UCLA, will swing his left foot through this one. Good kick. Jamerson with a chance. And Natrell Jamerson with a good diving tackle by Bormeister brought him down. Here's Clements. Bouncing to the outside again, and a good first down run for Corey Clements. Picks up a half dozen, running into Anthony Cerro, the senior captain linebacker.
And a nice patient run by Clement that time. And so many times running backs have to remember to be patient enough to press the point of attack, because that forms angles for your offensive line of scrimmage. And then if you have the vision and you can bounce it, you do it only after your offensive linemen have the angles.
So important for these linebackers, Kel, to take good angles against these backs. They go to the fullback in Watt, and Derek Watt screams his way into USC territory down to the 44-yard line for the longest run of his career. 19 yards.
What position does he play, Adam?
Fullback.
Yeah, that is a fullback right there. And that's just to dive up the middle. And obviously, fullbacks are rare in USC. Even though they play with one, forgot the fullback on that play.
His longest previous run had been 8 yards. The younger brother of JJ, who missed 5 games last year with a broken foot, currently playing in his 47th career game. He motions out. Stave with pressure off the edge from Chris Hawkins. He escapes that. And Stave keeps the play alive for a gain. Running into Sua Cravens.
Chris Hawkins, the safety, came off the edge right there, and Stave is not exactly known for his athleticism, but that is a really nice play right there. Avoids the big negative, and with the motion of the fullback outside, Chris Hawkins actually bumped down to the slot receiver and then blitzed off the edge, and that's what the quarterback Stave avoided right there.
And they'll keep running it with Clements, and he'll get the first down, and he's got it into the red zone to the 15. The clock can stop to move the chains, but Wisconsin will smartly use their first time out here.
The half, Wisconsin. It will be a 30-second timeout.
This time, Sua Cravens does not go with the fullback motion. Stave to throw for Wheelwright. And Robert Wheelwright could not haul it in. Adoree Jackson with the coverage. He's already made one spectacular one-handed catch tonight. 10th play of the drive is a Stave pass, which comes late to the sideline and incomplete for Fumagalli, the tight end. 3rd down and 10.
I don't know that a whole lot was going to happen if Fumagalli actually hung on to that when it was zone coverage on the back end, and USC did a nice job of squeezing their zones when you have an offensive player running a route in your neighborhood. That's the way you're supposed to play a zone. You don't cover grass, you cover routes.
Wisconsin's only got 10 on the play clock as Stave delivers the signal. They do have 2 timeouts with which to work here. They get the snap off in time. Stave to the end zone for Fumagalli, incomplete. Erickson was around as well. Neither seem to be looking for the ball. And actually, with the way they're talking to each other, Erickson is telling Fumagalli that that was probably his pass.
Well, Fumagalli was running up the seam, and the safety, Chris Hawkins, was over the top, and I think Stave was trying to throw off of that safety. You can see number 4 running out of the picture toward Erickson, but that ball actually went in between the 2 receivers.
So Gaglianone, the sophomore from Sao Paulo, has already made one from 28 from inside the left hash. This will be closer to the right hash. Cold night, but not much of a breeze here in San Diego. And a little hook on that one, slicing back inside the right upright. A 13-7 Wisconsin lead. Couple of field goals, couple of touchdowns on each side in this game thus far. And a historic-looking matchup with a couple of pro-style teams in what could be the final game of American football played at Qualcomm Stadium. It's Wisconsin leading by a half dozen. 13-7, a halftime lead for Wisconsin. We get you to Adnan Virk, Danny Cannell for the Coke Zero halftime report in Arlington. I hear Danny Cannell's crushed velvet suit is really solid. Check it out right now. back in San Diego for the 2015 National Funding Holiday Bowl, all part of Capital One Bowl Mania. The first meeting in a half-century between Wisconsin and USC as the Badgers out in front by a score of 13-7. It'll be Trojan ball to start half number 2. And that will welcome you back in the broadcast booth. Adam Amin, Kelly Schobert, Olivia Harlan is well on the field. Your thoughts in the first 30 minutes?
I think Wisconsin has to be ecstatic the way this first half played out. It's about their defense to begin with, and their defense was not dominant, but they hassled the quarterback Kessler just a little bit, and then efficiency on offense. They got the run game going. The play-action passing game is sure to follow that. So I think a really good first half for Wisconsin. One thing, though, 3 trips to the red zone, they only scored 1 touchdown.
USC's offense only had 24 snaps in that first half. That's the fewest in a first half they've had in the last 3 years since they played Notre Dame in 2012. Olivia Harlan talked with Clay Helton during that halftime break.
And Adam, it's important to remember that Clay Helton did coordinate this offense in the same exact bowl game last year where they totaled over 1,000 yards on offense. Tonight, barely 100. And Coach Helton says a big reason, all credit to Wisconsin D. He says one of the toughest they'll face all year. And they've kept him off the field just like Helton feared they would yesterday. You said 24 snaps. Wisconsin's held a team to as low as 22 in 1 half. Good news, though, for the Trojans. Adoree Jackson's left hand. Coach Helton said just a stinger. He'll be good to go.
Okay, there he is on the field, and he'll be back and ready to return, although they have avoided him over the course of the game so far. And Liv talked about it. It was USC-Nebraska last year. Both teams had over 500 yards of total offense. And today, a little more pro-style stuff. Kind of what we expected, though, this matchup. They avoid Jackson. It's Justin Davis trying to seek space, and he works across the 25. Stephen Mitchell in motion as they give it to Davis, and another tackle for loss for this Wisconsin defense. And there's the first one of the night for Joe Schobert, the All-American linebacker, a loss of 4 on the play. USC offensively 35 points per game. That's 30th in the country. They're very good through the air, 30th in the nation at 273.5. And they want to get 80 snaps. 40 pass, 40 run is the ideal, obviously, for the balance.
They better hurry up.
I was going to say they only had 24 in that first half.
Yeah, Wisconsin's defense is legit. Let's not argue about that.
Kessler with a good pocket, but a tight window toss with a lot of red jerseys around Tyler Petit.
Bad decision by a very experienced veteran quarterback. You can't throw this into any more traffic than Cody Kessler does right here. Count the red jerseys around the receiver. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not a good decision by Cody Kessler.
There's the veteran Caputo, one of the 4 red jerseys around the tight end of USC in that play. They've got that trip stack in there. Juju Smith-Schuster's hiding in it. Kessler looking in that direction, and that ball deflected near the line of scrimmage. Schobert getting the pressure on Kessler on 3rd and long. A down where Wisconsin can bring the heat, and it's 4th down.
And a good sign for Wisconsin. Joe Schobert is getting active and getting greased up early. Here comes the pressure. He gets Kessler onto his back and forces that errant pass.
Erickson, a fair catch near the 35-yard line. Here is Clement. And Clement able to bust through and gets ripped down by Noah Jefferson, the freshman. And for those of you kind of joining us late, didn't get a chance to really understand what Corey Clement has gone through. We'll run through this one more time just so you understand the process that this kid has gone through. Sports hernia surgery after the first game of the year against Alabama. He missed 8 games overall. He also had a citation from the police after a dispute at his apartment in early November. He ended up not traveling with the team and not running with the team against Minnesota in the regular season finale. He's trying to get healthy from the sports hernia surgery, trying to get back from the hand that he messed up during that dispute. Watt picks up the first down to the 49-yard line. Clement wanted to make an impact this season, taking over as basically the #1 back for Melvin Gordon, but he's been sidetracked all year, and he really hopes that 2016 is going to be better than 2015.
Well, maybe this is a good start for his 2016, even though we haven't quite turned the corner into a new year. But that guy right there makes this Wisconsin rush offense different, and he will be an asset tonight if he can get it going in the second half.
They give it to him here. Brought down by Simmons.
You know, the run game, Adam, is not just a running back. It's the offensive line in conjunction with the running back. And Corey Clement is an experienced guy, and he can be patient. But remember what's happening up front for Wisconsin. You have 4 redshirt freshmen. Those guys have to be tied to the running back, and we'll see what that looks like here in the second half.
Back-to-back games that 4 redshirt freshmen have started on the offensive line. We talked with the Wisconsin sports information staff. As far as they knew, it had never happened before, starting 4 redshirt freshmen until that Minnesota game. Stave on second down to the outside for Dare Ogunbowale, and he has the first down inside the USC 40-yard line, brought down by Hawkins after 11 yards.
So if Wisconsin can get the run game going, and they rushed it pretty well in the first half, 99 yards at halftime, and their pass game that Paul Chryst unleashes is all about run it, establish a physical presence on the line of scrimmage, and then it's play action passing game or a quick passing game like we saw right there out of Joel Stave.
Stave, the former walk-on who was recruited by Paul Chryst, then Chryst left for Pittsburgh. Stave developed into a very solid quarterback, and he has reunited with Chryst this year. Clement diving ahead for about 2, brought down by Marshall.
We see Derek Watt again in the fullback, and it's a rarity in college football, but Derek Watt is giving Wisconsin's offense some plays.
Yeah.
He's caught the ball. He ran it a few times when USC has forgot about that fullback, but it's the lead blocking as well. That 2-back run game has worked well for Wisconsin.
Hey, right on cue. There's Watt. It'll be third down, about 5 coming up here. Remember, Joel Stave coming into this game had thrown the ball 343 times. That was a Wisconsin record. For a little bit of perspective, the USC record belongs to Carson Palmer back in 2002. He threw it 489 times. So 343 is a lot for a Wisconsin offense. They've had to do that with the inexperienced offensive line, with the injuries in the backfield as well. They've had to turn to Stave a little bit more. Will they do so on 3rd and 5 here? He'll keep it on the ground with Ogunbowale, and he's got the first down on the ground. And the former defensive back turn running back takes it inside the red zone to the 16.
Micah Kapoy, the left guard, number 75, is going to lead. Ogunbowale outside right there. It's just a little G play, and G standing for guard. The guard wraps around the center. The running back gets in behind him, and it was almost a quarterback zone read concept, but I guarantee you Stave was not keeping that football. There was no read involved.
There's Clement with a couple of fullbacks blocking for him. And he gets brought down after a short gain by Claude Pallone.
How about the time of possession? I mean, Wisconsin is just grinding it. And that's a staple of Paul Chryst, but it's also a staple of Clay Helton on the other side of the field. And right now, Wisconsin's getting the best of them by far in that area.
Yeah, approaching 25 minutes of possession in this game. Again, under Clay Helton, that number had swung in USC's favor the first 7 games. Stanford and Wisconsin have flipped the script the last 2 against USC's D. Clements into a pile of white jerseys. Antoine Woods was the first man there using that strong left arm. And then letting his teammates finish it up. This guy's got NFL written all over him, too. A redshirt senior out of Taft High School in L.A.
The 4th red zone trip by Wisconsin. Remember, Adam, they were 1 out of 3 in terms of touchdowns in the first half, and you have to think that USC is going to get something going offensively. You have to get touchdowns when you get into the red zone. The field is condensed, so it's more difficult down here, but Wisconsin has to find a way.
Yeah, this feels like a big third down for USC's defense on the 10th play of this Wisconsin drive. Stave past the sticks, wheel right. 1st and goal, Badgers. And what a night for Robert Wheelwright in his return from a broken fibula on October the 24th. He's been a factor as they hoped he would be. And going after it with Sua Cravens there.
And Wheelwright is matched up on the freshman Isaiah Langley, and that's intentional. Let's go pick on the youngster, and this is more of a break on the throw type of pass. It isn't a back shoulder because the receiver turns around when he sees the quarterback throwing the football. Very well executed, and once again, picking on the youngster Isaiah Langley.
Clement. Great penetration by USC up front by Simmons. Delvon Simmons has been active tonight. The redshirt senior out of Pennsylvania, and Clement is slow to get up after this play.
That did not look good. The quick penetration by Simmons, and Simmons had 6 tackles in the first half, 5 of them solo. This does not look good for Corey Clement.
There's Melvin Gordon on the left, the outstanding former Wisconsin back, now dealing with a knee injury as he plays for the San Diego Chargers. He's standing next to Corey Clement, who did run off the field pretty well and was cutting on the sidelines a little bit. So a scary moment, seems to be okay. Left leg for Clement, kind of got turned on and landed on after the penetration by Simmons. Clement was clearly in some pain. It looked maybe much worse than it seems to be for the time being, and we hope that's the case. So with Clement off the field in the red zone, they turn to the freshman in the backfield, Alec Ingold, who's got 6 rushing touchdowns this year. The fake to Ingold, wide open trailer, touchdown Badgers.
Play action inside is going to free up Traylor. It's going to be right there. Look at the eyes of the defenders. All of them jump inside, forget about the tight end out on the edge. Well executed, and that's what happens, Adam, when you have the ability to run the football down deep. They have to respect it.
Austin Traylor worked really hard in the offseason to become a solid pass catcher. He's been a very reliable blocker in his career, but this season, his redshirt senior campaign, 4 touchdown receptions. When the man Melvin Gordon likes it, you probably did something right. 20-7 Badgers. Russell again, short kick, but this time Adoree Jackson's going to come to the sideline at the 19 to get it. And Adoree Jackson, who had a kick return touchdown against Nebraska in this bowl game last year, has a good return to the 45-yard line. And Darius Hillary goes right up on Juju Smith-Schuster. That's where Kessler's looking. And that's where Juju Smith-Schuster is going to come down with it. They finally hook up on the big play downfield, 39 yards.
Just the vertical speed outside and outside release gets the separation, and that's what elite receivers do. Right at the end, Darius Hillary was in pretty good position, and then another little use of the hand by Juju Smith-Schuster and a little bit more separation, and then Kessler dropped it in his shirt pocket.
So inside the red zone from the 16. Play action Kessler into the flat for the fullback Jaleel Pinner. Run out of bounds by Jack Sitchie, who is playing here in the second half for Wisconsin. The redshirt sophomore had to miss the first half of this game due to a third-quarter targeting penalty in the regular season finale against Minnesota. Here's Davis with Pinner blocking. Good cut. And that gets him some solid yardage running into Sheehy. He'll work his way for 6 yards. You can get a first down without scoring here. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
A good job of formationing an advantage by USC on this drive. They got Smith-Schuster loose on that long pass, and then that time they overload into the boundary, and they have Smith-Schuster and Rogers flanked out to the wide side of the field. There's a run advantage to the right and a pass advantage potentially to the left.
Can they convert on 3rd down? Wisconsin has stopped them on 3rd down 6 straight times. Screen pass. That's a backwards pass for Jalen Green. And a circular route to escape the pressure. He can still throw it. Now he'll run it. He'll hurdle for the first down, running into Caputo. Little trickery on third down, and Green, after a broken play, still makes something out of it.
It's difficult to run this type of play against a disciplined defense, and Wisconsin's middle name is discipline. Rarely out of position. Everybody has an assignment, and Wisconsin defensively carried it out extremely well.
Here's Davis, pounding his way into the end zone. Another touchdown for USC on the ground.
You know, Adam, think of that previous play with Jalen Green was supposed to throw that football, and the decision he made not to throw it because Wisconsin was in great position defensively. He gets as much out of it as he can, and it set up that touchdown by Justin Davis right there. A lot of times when that's called and you don't have a quarterback making the decision, guys like Green typically throw it up come heck or high water, and he didn't right there.
Yeah, the redshirt freshman made a great decision. Adoree Jackson, the sophomore, set it up with a great kick return. And then the 39-yarder to Juju Smith-Schuster allowed Justin Davis to score. This was the biggest play of the drive.
Yeah, Smith-Schuster finally gets loose. Green made a good decision on the play before, and Justin Davis gets in the end zone.
This is a city, a town that has such a deep, rich history with the United States Navy. Always great to see, and a great trip and experience for these teams. Alex Erickson from the goal line. And Erickson gets hit at the 18. This drive starts from the 19 for the Badgers, and Stave on a comeback route throwing to the sideline, and it's broken up by the freshman Marshall, knocking it out of the hands of Alex Erickson.
Pretty decent timing on the play action pass, and Stave gets it out, but it was a little bit inside, and Marshall almost came down with this one. If that ball's on the front shoulder to the sideline, that's a catch. But that almost opened up the door for Iman Marshall right there.
Ogunbowale grabbed around the waist by Woods. Cravens comes in to help finish it off.
Yeah, and that's the risk of throwing it on first down. You risk second behind the sticks, and that was supposed to be a maintenance run on second down, and wasn't very well blocked. The draw up inside, and you can see the penetration by Antoine Woods. A true nose guard, and he gets off and gets into the gap.
Erickson in the slot to the left. He's been the chain mover on third down tonight. Just a four-man USC rush. Stave stepping up, firing for Peavy, and it's incomplete. Excellent coverage by USC's defense, which gets its first 3 and out of the night.
Well, in the end, Jazz Peavy was actually bracketed inside and out. A good job by Joel Stave to climb in the pocket. This ball should have been caught. It was pretty good coverage by Marshall over the top, and Sua Cravens was there as well, but that ball was pretty well thrown, and the movement by Stave allowed that. Climbed in the pocket, threw an accurate pass.
Third punt in the 54th career game for Drew Meyer, tying the Wisconsin record. High hang time kick, no return for Adoree Jackson. But it is not exactly going to flip the field after the 3 and out. Excellent field position on just a 31-yard punt. Kessler, pressure coming in, ripped down by Sitchy. He did not fall for the fake toss to Dominic Davis, and Sitchy with his first impact play of this game after missing the first half.
Dave Aranda's focus is to occupy the line of scrimmage, to turn my production guys, my disruptive guys loose. Sitchy is in on that particular play, but it's the linebackers running through the confusion created on the line of scrimmage.
Second and a quarter of the field. It's Sitchy again. Down goes Kessler again. Two sacks his entire career. 2 sacks on this drive alone for Sitchy.
Well, Sitchy has taken advantage of confusion created. He's right here, and he's going to come essentially unblocked to Cody Kessler. Right in there. 2 guys block, 1 inside. It turns Sitchy loose to get after Cody Kessler. Confusion up front is reigning for USC.
3rd down and 31. Sitchy penetrating again, and down goes Kessler again. Jack Sitchy doing it all on this drive for the Badger D. Does he have fresh legs right now?
Yeah,
maybe.
No kidding. Remember, you talked about it. Jack Sitchy was not playing in the first half because of targeting in the last game against Minnesota. Had to set it out, and USC's happy he did.
Good punt by Alvarado. Flips the field to get Erickson inside his own 40-yard line after USC did nothing but lose yardage.
You tell me he had 2 career sacks, and on this drive, did he not have 3?
He had 3 on that drive alone.
Unbelievable.
He had 2 sacks against Maryland earlier this season, and he had 3 on that drive. His dad, Steve, we talked about Notre Dame. His dad played football at Notre Dame, ended up playing in the CFL as well. His sister's a really talented basketball player on the Wisconsin team. A guy who redshirted last year. He had to step into a starting role when Chris Orr was out with a shin injury, and he was the impact player on that drive. And Wisconsin takes over up 6 at its own 39. Ogunbowale and USC's front doing some damage here. Antoine Woods with the penetration and the stop. You dig defense? Because we're seeing a lot of it on these last 4, 5, 6 snaps.
You get the double flex by 99 Antoine Woods, and he blows it up, and then Sua Cravens is right there to partake as well. But yeah, we're seeing it. The defensive line of scrimmage is winning currently.
Inside of 2 to play, 3rd quarter. Stave, short, Ogunbowale. Marshall missed the tackle, and he caught back up to him to bring him down. Shy of the line to gain by about 4 yards. Picks up 10 to set up a makeable 3rd down.
Ogunbowale actually is on a free release, and Paul Chris talked to us about that. Do we want to max protect and keep our running backs in, or do we want to free release them at times, given no blocking assignments, and have a quick outlet for Stave to throw the football? That was an example of the free release system right there.
Four-man rush on 3rd down, and Stave goes down. It's Greg Townsend, the redshirt senior out of Beverly Hills. And that's back-to-back 3-and-outs forced by the USC defense.
And the back-to-back 3-and-outs come after a 12-play touchdown drive by Wisconsin, and I think this USC defense was challenged on the sideline, and they're responding to it. They don't want Wisconsin's defense to have all the fun, apparently.
Meyer to kick. Jackson's back there. A flag is thrown where Meyer released the kick. Jackson gets brought down immediately. Justin Davis. Good filling of that gap by the freshman linebacker T.J. Edwards out of Lake Villa, Illinois. He's their leading tackler as a redshirt freshman. That's an impressive feat by a young man.
It really is, and what an impressive group of linebackers collectively. Schobert, we saw in the first couple of plays of the second half, he was getting lathered up, and we saw Chris Orr early, and then Sitchy the last couple of plays.
The strength of this team is in its linebacking core. It was Jack Sitchy who showed up the strength of the linebackers and the depth of this team. He didn't even play in the first half, and on one drive alone, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. That's how many quarters we've also played. 20-14 Wisconsin, off to the 4th at San Diego. Corey Clement was a little banged up earlier. Olivia Harlan checks in.
Adam, they taped up that left ankle, and then they just took it off. He banged his fist on the trainer's table. He's clearly upset, and now trainers are asking him to go to the locker room. It's been a hard year for him, and he even said earlier this week, I'm not liking 2015, and I don't think it's liking me either. Tonight is not his night either.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating season overall for Clement, and despite a touchdown tonight, he might be watching from the sideline. USC has 2nd down and 11, and Sitchy getting to Kessler again. He escapes the pressure and finds Rogers for a 1st down. Gets out to the 35-yard line on 2nd and long. They pick up 17 to the junior out of Compton.
Well, Wisconsin is obviously getting pressure. This time, Cody Kessler is athletic enough to step up inside and make a nice throw. That is so underrated with this young man, to avoid pressure and make the nice throw.
Davis bounces off. Kessler throws a block, and Davis is able to turn it into a really good 1st down run as Tanner McAvoy finally ends the play after 7. And there is Clement being taken back towards the locker room, as Olivia just told us. I imagine frustratedly being taken back.
Yeah, no doubt. Watch Kessler throw the block about right there. And that's a pretty nice block.
Yeah,
it wasn't a shoe duster. He actually went after him.
Against the 238-pounder in Edwards. Jack Sitchy with a big hit on Davis, but you love the second effort from Davis as well to get close to the sticks. How about the energy level that Sitchy has come to the second half with?
Yeah,
hard not to appreciate.
He's plugged this defense in. Energy-wise, there isn't any doubt about it. TJ Edwards, 53, is having himself a night as well. So impressed with this linebacking group for Wisconsin.
Kessler goes sneak to try to pick up that short 1 yard, and seems like he does have it to the 45.
Adam, I'm not convinced that USC is efficient enough offensively to score points. They have to get some chunk yards.
Yeah.
They only had 1 chunk play in the first half, and it's been few and far between. That's exactly the way Wisconsin is built defensively. Bend but don't break, create some pressure, but don't give up the big chunks.
Kessler just 129 yards through the air. Running to his right, throwing downfield. Petit is open, and Petit has it inside the 30. The improvisation of Cody Kessler kept him alive, getting away from Sitchy and finding 26 yards.
The underrated mobility by Cody Kessler allows Petit to grab that football right at his shoe tops. If that ball is 2 feet higher, Petit probably walks into the end zone.
Ronald Jones, can he get lathered up and going? He gets spun down inside the 25-yard line by Sitchy. Ronald Jones, the second out of McKinney, Texas. No freshman in USC history has ever run for 1,000 yards. And Ronald Jones approaching that tonight. There's Juju Smith-Schuster in the stack with a new center in the game for USC and Nico Fowler. He helps block for Jones, who stretches to the edge and gets brought down by Sojourn Shelton. That's a big change at the center position. Nico Fowler just had to check back into the game for USC. USC has struggled on 3rd down tonight. 3 for 10 overall. A big 3rd and 4 on the doorstep of the red zone. Approaching 12 to play, down by 6 of the Trojans. Kessler extending the play with his feet. Looking downfield for Juju Smith-Schuster. And he hangs on as Hillary rips him down. He's inside the sticks and inside the 15. And a little bit slow to get up after the play as well. And he needs a substitution. That left arm does not look right.
Smith-Schuster was actually the primary target, matched up on the bottom against Darius Hillary. Very good coverage initially. Remember what Kessler's doing right there. He's getting outside of the pocket to the right, and Smith-Schuster comes back to the football.
Ronald Jones, the second, gets stacked up right at the 10-yard line by Edwards. You saw Juju Smith-Schuster getting checked out on the sidelines. That left arm did not look very good when Hillary had a pretty solid tackle in open space. He's had 4 catches tonight. He led the Pac-12 and was top 10 of the country in yards.
And only the one big chunk. He has the long of 39, and eventually USC scored on that particular drive.
Khalil Rogers and Taylor McNamara both back in the game. Adoree Jackson on a forward pass. Gets chopped down by Michael Caputo at the ankles. Very tough to do against the quick-footed Adoree Jackson. Picks up 3 yards, and it's 3rd down.
Yeah, Caputo is really the heartbeat of Wisconsin defensively, and that was a great tackle out in space against a really dynamic athlete in Adoree Jackson.
And Kelly, Juju Smith-Schuster, after that quick look on the sidelines, matched up with Hillary at the bottom of the screen. 3rd down and 4. Kessler cutting the field in half. Looking to the corner. Petit wasn't open. Kessler running out of time. Throws to the end zone. And it is caught by Rodgers. Tie game. A 12-play, 82-yard, 5-minute drive. A couple of big plays for the Trojans. They're able to cash in and take their first lead of the night. Kelly has talked about it all night tonight. The underrated aspect of Cody Kessler is his ability to improv and keep plays alive. He finds Rodgers, and the Trojans are on top. Matt Bormeister kicks away. Natrell Jamerson has been ruled out for the rest of the game, so that's why Alex Erickson, who doesn't return kicks a whole lot, is returning kicks. He steps out shy of the 20-yard line. 5:34 to go. Both teams with full complements of timeouts, and Joel Stave is back in the game at quarterback. Ogunbowale on 1st down. Not much there as we go down to Olivia.
Well, guys, Joel Stave has 3 steri strips on the bridge of his nose and 1 cotton ball in the right nostril. I also want to update you that Corey Clemens is back on the bench with his left shoe off. Athletic trainers still say his status is unknown, but he is sitting with no shoe, so don't think he's going in anytime soon.
Olivia, good stuff. Thanks very much. That frustration for Clement continues. Stave playing with an injured nose, seemingly for the time being. 4-man rush. Stave over the middle for a 1st down. It's caught by Traylor, who's had a big impact tonight. A touchdown reception already. There he picks up 17.
Well, Austin Traylor had been hurt, and it's been a while since Wisconsin could legitimately throw 2 tight ends out there at a time. You see the route underneath by Erickson gets a lot of attention, and then Austin Traylor runs the route over top of Erickson. You have a man beater underneath, and you have a big body tight end, giving Joel Stave time to step up inside and throw a strike with a nose that does not feel too good right now.
Taiwan Deal blocking in the backfield for Stave, who throws into a tight window. And Troy Fumagalli has the reception in the red zone at the 19. Couple of big plays to tight ends going down the field for over 30 yards.
And it's tight ends on safeties, or in this case, a linebacker. Wisconsin likes this type of matchup. And actually, that's a safety tell right there coming up and making that tackle. But it's the middle of the field being probed by Wisconsin's 2 tight ends.
Deal is the deep back in the eye. They give it to the fullback, Watt. And he picks up a couple.
That run by the fullback, Watt, is almost like a temperature taker. You know, it's almost like a triple option running, or a team that runs the triple option. You keep coming back to the fullback to make sure that USC is aware of their inside run game, and that's a good example of it right there.
Paul Chryst, the play caller and the first-year head coach. Ogunbowale back in the game. Tanner McAvoy back in the game as well. And McAvoy running left has nowhere to go. Delvon Simmons had the penetration again. He is having himself a very impressive final night.
And it's the ability to bubble the play. The penetration by Simmons forces McAvoy to get deeper than the point of attack was actually intended to be. And when you get penetration defensively, it's hard to get anything going in the run game offensively.
Kelly's talked about it only one time. Have the Badgers converted a touchdown in the red zone tonight in 4 tries. 3rd down and 12. They'll put it on the ground, and Ogunbowale dragging defenders. Took Sua Cravens all the way to the 10 to set up what would be a makeable go-ahead field goal for Rafael Gaglianone.
First charge time out of the half, Southern California.
And USC feels the necessity to take a timeout right here.
Yeah, good use of the timeout right there by USC. You want to stop it at 2:31. You feel like this field goal is going to go through potentially, so you give Cody Kessler and company time when you get the ball back.
28 good, 33 good, 29 to give them the lead with 2.5 to go. Badgers in front. Setting up for a fantastic finish in San Diego. Rafael Gaglianone, 3 for 3 tonight. The latest 29-yarder has put Wisconsin in front by 2 with 2:27 to play. And now USC is going to get the ball back, and the stage is set for the Trojans and their senior quarterback, Cody Kessler. Jack Russell to kick away. And Adoree Jackson is up shorter. He actually switches fields. He started to run to the far side. Now he runs back to the near side. And he'll go ahead and take the ball out to the 25-yard line. Juju Smith-Schuster, bottom of the formation against Darius Hillary. Kessler to throw on 1st down. And Kessler to run it. Trying to hold on to that football as it was almost ripped away by Sitchie and Edwards. Instead, he picks up 4 yards. Remember, he has 2 timeouts with which to work as we approach 2 minutes to play. Blitz from the Badgers. Kessler gets rid of it fast in a very tight window, and McNamara comes down with it for a 1st down to the 36-yard line.
Wisconsin playing single high safety, man-to-man underneath, and that was a tight window. The tight end was in the slot, Taylor McNamara, and just runs the slant, and Kessler puts it right on his chest.
4-man rush. Sitchie bringing heat. Kessler got rid of it. It was deflected by Sitchie and picked off by Shelton. Wisconsin takes over on the first turnover of the game on either side.
Well, Cody Kessler is going to climb in the pocket, but you can see Sitchie right there. Number 48 just runs the arc around the top, doesn't stop working, affects the pass, and Sojourn Shelton comes down with it. Not the ending that Cody Kessler was looking for, if indeed this is the end of it.
USC isn't done yet. They still have 2 timeouts, but they need quick stops. Ogunbowale stopped after a short gain. USC will use one of its 2 timeouts.
Second charge time out of the half, Southern California. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Again, USC still not out of it yet, but they need 2 stops on the next 2 snaps. First carry for Taiwan Deal, and the freshman will get hit by Amon Marshall. USC will use a timeout with 93 seconds.
3rd and final charge time out of the half, Southern California.
They'll give it to Deal with 2 fullbacks blocking, and Deal trying to surge forward, and this is going to depend on the spot.
I think they're about a half a yard short. The line judge coming in from our vantage point, I think it's going to be short.
And now if it is short, which they're ruling that it is, now it's decision time for Wisconsin. Do you actually go for it on 4th down to try to pick it up? Because USC only needs a field goal.
Wow, I think this is going to be looked at. I mean, our line right there that you see, the yellow line, is not official, but it's usually pretty accurate. But Wisconsin is going to punt this ball away.
Incredibly close. Adoree Jackson is back to return. Meyer trying to pin it, and it ends up going through the back of the end zone. But is there a flag thrown on the play? There was. A penalty marker was thrown on the play. Don Hill, 59, or excuse me, rather.
Sitchy is involved in this as well.
After the play was over, personal foul and unnecessary roughness. Number 58 of the receiving team. The penalty's half the distance to the goal line from the 20 after enforcing the touchback. First down.
It was after the play. That's the distinction. That is a huge call that it was after the play. It was Osa Messina, although I believed it was 59 Don Hill. They called 58. I believe it was 59 Don Hill who was part of this whole thing. There it is. It was 59. They called out the wrong number.
Sitchy's in on the action again. He's the Wisconsin player right there.
Yeah, they were rolling around on the ground after the play. And again, the distinction of all of this is important that it came after the play.
The fouling player is number 59.
There you go. You had it right, Adam.
Yeah, there it is. So because it came after the play, it wasn't involved during the play, it's not a live ball foul. So that's a break because USC keeps the ball half the distance from where they would have had it spotted at the 20-yard line. It's at the 10 for Cody Kessler. No timeouts, 39 seconds. They have to go about 65 yards to get into field goal range. Kessler, long out route, and they get out of bounds with the catch by Mitchell.
Smith-Schuster underneath, and Mitchell runs the corner route over the top, and very well thrown by Cody Kessler.
They picked up 16 yards to the 26. Alex Wood's long this season came against Cal. It was a 43-yarder. So they need to get to about the 26-yard line to get into that range. Kessler fires, sideline again. It was caught by Deontay Burnett, but he was not able to get a foot in bounds with the coverage of McAvoy all over him.
And Schuster really isn't even running a route because of the attention he's getting.
Whoa. I thought maybe that left foot got down, Cal.
I think you might be right. Certainly it should be looked at further.
John McDade has a crucial call.
After video review, it is a catch. The receiver was able to tap his toe in bounds, and his heel did not come out of bounds. The ball will be placed at the 39-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10.
And again, the clock does stop because he went out of bounds after getting possession of the ball. So the clock will not move on this snap. They've got Adoree Jackson in the game. You put your best guys out there right now if you're USC trying to get into field goal range for Wood. 30 seconds to go, first down. Blitz from the Badgers. Kessler is going to throw it into the bench. He got out of the pocket, threw it out of bounds past the line of scrimmage, so no intentional grounding. Only 5 seconds came off, but those 5 seconds are pretty crucial. Second down.
Well, you talked about it, Adoree Jackson being on the field, because what Wisconsin had been doing coverage-wise is they're rolling people over top of Smith-Schuster and giving him no room to roll. They'll hold it right there for a minute. He's down here, but there's a safety that rolls over the top. Adoree Jackson is in the middle of the trips to the top side.
Kessler looking in that direction. Throws the out route towards midfield. It's caught, but inbounds. The catch was made by Mitchell. The clock will stop to reset the chains. And now Cody Kessler may have to spike the football to stop the clock. And he will with 17 seconds to go.
A good use of spiking the ball. There was 19 seconds left after the catch by Mitchell, and only 2 seconds ran off. That's good execution of killing the football appropriately.
The longest attempt of the season for Alex Wood was 46 yards. They'd have to go about 21 yards to get into that range alone. With no timeouts and 17 seconds to go. Blitz again from the Badgers. Pressure coming on Kessler, who heaves it to the sideline with a receiver in the area. Good pressure by Vince Beagle to get into the backfield, and Kessler smartly threw it away.
Well, Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator from Wisconsin, is certainly not backing away. One high safety is Caputo in the middle of the field, man-to-man underneath, and getting after Cody Kessler to make him uncomfortable. Successful on that play.
It's third down. You need to get out of bounds or get a first down, because you can't spike the football on fourth down to stop the clock. 12 seconds left. Kessler takes a shot for Smith-Schuster. Diving attempt incomplete. And it's 4th down. And it comes down to this.
You know, Adam, this is a difficult catch to make, but it's one that we've seen Smith-Schuster make. This goes off his hand at the end. The press coverage forces a fade outside. The safety's not getting over there, and Smith-Schuster had a chance right there.
It's going to come down to one play towards the end zone, or maybe a couple of laterals. Something crazy could happen, and the Badger defense is going to back off. Kessler to the sideline. They'll go quick and short here, but it's incomplete for Rogers. He was out of bounds, and that's it. This ball game is over. And the Wisconsin Badgers, for the first time in nearly a decade, will come away with back-to-back bowl wins. I'm surprised they threw short here, Cal.
Yeah, I think it was essentially a Hail Mary maintenance play, and the receiver is short of the 1st down marker. That dog was not going to hunt regardless.
Again, if you want to do the maintenance play, you got to do it past the sticks.
Absolutely.
It's 4th down. You have to get at least 10. I was a little surprised with the play call for USC in that final drive. Great effort on that dive by Juju Smith-Schuster. Nearly had it. Could not come down with it. And the Wisconsin Badgers close out Joel Stave's career with a Wisconsin record 31st win. And it's back-to-back bowl wins for the first time since 2006 for Wisconsin. First-year head coaches at these programs, both sons of coaches meeting at midfield as Wisconsin defeats USC 23-21. For Olivia Harlan, Kelly Stauffer, Bill Garrity, Ed Svita, Adam Amin saying so long from San Diego. Sports Center coming up.